Recently I did a video showcasing what Sparking Zero's camera had to hide, and you all seem to enjoy it, so we're back at it again with another installment of What is Sparking Zero's camera hiding? The first thing I was curious to see was which giant was actually the most giant. So, using the hourglass and the time chamber as a ruler, I put each giant as close to the same position as possible next to it, and here's what each giant looks like on their own, and we'll do a side-by-side after. First up is Vegeta. Then we have Wheelo. I bet you can already see who's going to be the smallest of the giants. And then Lord Slug, Janemba, Harudagarn, Great Ape Baby, and then Anilaza, and finally, the newest giants added to the roster, Orange Piccolo and Cell Max. Looking at them side by side, it's pretty clear who's the biggest and who's the smallest, with Dr. Wheelo claiming the Italist spot and Janemba absolutely chonking up the top. One thing I thought was interesting but makes sense is Slug is larger than Piccolo, and Cell Max is pretty much the same size as Piccolo. I was expecting Max to be on the larger end, but as we can see, he ended up in the bottom 4. And just eyeballing it, I would say both apes are about the same size, though between the shoulder pads and the hair, Baby just looks slightly larger. But something else I really wanted to look at in this video was Jiren. Jiren's transformation has actually been a point of contention since the release of Sparking Zero, because he just kinda loses his shirt and pops into place, so I wanted to see what this transformation looks like pulled out, and here it is. You know, I actually really like all of the effects on this transformation, but as you can see, the model does just kind of change to the shirtless one before the flames even begin to engulf him. It looks pretty rough, which is disappointing because Jiren is like the box art villain. Everything about him and UI should be perfect. But speaking of UI and Jiren, both Sign and Base Jiren have attacks that reference the anime, and they both look really cool with the proper camera work. So we're gonna see what they look like when you get rid of the nice angles and proper pacing. First up is the point blank Kamehameha, and we're going to take a couple different angles on this one. The reason I wanted to look at this attack was because of the super speed punches, and as we can see, not a single one of them makes contact. And then after the final punch, Goku teleports back and the enemy slowly floats into a T-pose, which is very funny. What else is funny is Goku bouncing on nothing to get towards the opponent. This attack was so sick in the anime when he grinded on the beam, but here, especially from this perspective, it's just goofy looking. However, the thing that really lets this attack down is the beam. Not in the way that you think, though. I mean, look at the size of this blast! It's huge! The actual shot does not convey this sense of scale at all. So when you blast someone with UI Sign, just remember, this is what you're doing to them. And then we have Jiren's attack. Just like Goku, the Mach punches don't connect. But then he captures them in this bubble, and the attack is so sick looking. I mean, it's sick as is. But again, I just love seeing the scale of the burst that comes out. I also did a shot from above to see what the earth cracking looks like, and I was not disappointed. The power fractures most of the stage, not just the area within the camera's field of view. You can see it even cracks the pillars and the rocks that are on the y-axis, not just the ground plane. And just for fun, I wanted to see MUI Goku's ult while we're here. Next, I want to go back to a giant for a second and talk about some transformations. The one I was most interested in is Janemba. And of course, this is a great transformation sequence. I love how the smoke curls back into him, and then we get the reveal of the evil cool version. But what does that look like from the enemy's perspective? The smoke comes out, and then he just disappears through the floor. I wasn't expecting this. It just made me laugh. I guess I thought he would just pop out, but him getting sucked into the ether was just a funny visual. And then the new form just kind of pops into place. Also, here's Lightning Shower Rain as a bonus. Now this was an interesting one, but there's another movie character who people think has a weird transformation, Android 13. Honestly, this transformation isn't that bad. I think a lot of 13's issues simply come down to how he's shaded. His face just looks a little odd because you can't see his nose half the time. Could have maybe done some more with the effects on the transformation as a whole, but it's really not that bad. Now moving on from transformations, there are a lot of spirit bombs in this game, so I wanted to compare the scale of all of the full-size spirit bombs. Sorry Goku early fans, we're not taking a look at the OG spirit bomb this time. Starting with Goku mid. I think the camera actually does a lot of harm to these spirit bombs. The windup looks very cool on this one, especially from this angle, and that is a pretty good sized spirit bomb. Next up is End of Z Goku. This one is noticeably shinier than the last one, though the windup is a bit less impressive. Then after it makes contact, both fighters teleport for the actual cutscene. All in all, still a pretty good Spirit Bomb. Next up is Super Goku's Kaioken Blue Spirit Bomb. And right away, Goku teleports and then floats up while gathering the energy, which looks pretty cool. But then they teleport around a bunch more before the cutscene actually triggers, which is followed by a really nice explosion. I did take this one at a different angle just to see the entirety of this thing, and it is pretty jarring. The camera definitely saves this one. And our final Spirit Bomb is GT Goku's Universal Spirit Bomb. This one's also nice and shiny, though not any larger than Goku Mid's. It does have some really cool effects on it though. You can see the hallway where the opponent is swallowed by the beam, and then it travels away with them before exploding. And then here's all of them side by side. I like that they all look a tad different. You can't tell here, but I do think that End of Z Goku's is the largest. So do with that info what you will. Speaking of doing what you will, if you are enjoying this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. The more folks engage, the more I know that you are enjoying what you see and you want to see more. That's all, back to the video. Another signature Goku attack is the Dragon Fist, and this game has no shortage of those either. So let's take a look at every Dragon Fist. First is the OG Super Saiyan 3 Dragon Fist. Honestly, it's very weird looking. The dragon just teleports around, which of course, this is very clearly not meant to be viewed like this. Then we have base GT Goku, which is pretty similar to the previous one. I honestly don't have much else to say about it. Next, we have Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku, and this one is a lot better. I actually really like it. The dragon appears in this blinding flash, and it's animated all the way through its existence. And then we get that epic finishing Kamehameha that pummels the enemy into the ground. And this is not a hot take, but easily the best Dragon Fist is Super Saiyan 4. We're just gonna watch this one together. It's just great. The beginning of this attack is cool, but when the power geyser spawns and the dragon flies out in circles before barreling down into them, it's just so cinematic. I genuinely wish that we could have gotten this wide angle shot in the actual attack. Now, Spirit Bombs aren't the only ball type attacks in Sparking Zero, so let's take a look at a bunch of the other key ball ultimates. Starting with our Gods of Destruction, and first we're going to take a look at Topos. This attack is just very cool looking, though the sphere itself isn't much larger than the average key ball. But I took a second angle behind him, and it just looks cool. I love the silhouette behind this purple ball of energy. Very nice. And then we're gonna take a look at Beerus. And as much as I like this attack, I gotta say I think I prefer Topos. The Hakai colored sphere is just more appealing to me than the big fireball, and the zoomed out POV just cements that for me. Next up, we're gonna look at Great Baby's Revenge Death Ball. And this one is great. And it's big! Excellent attack. Love that huge plume of smoke at the end too. Next, we're going to take a look at Metal Cooler's Supernova. This is one of my favorite looking attacks in gameplay, but here with the camera pulled out, it's just alright. The camera does a lot for the perspective and scale of this attack. Seeing the whole thing is just kinda underwhelming. And next up is Mecha Frieza, which is pretty much the same story, but the ending effects are just so cool. I don't know if I'll ever get tired of seeing these various assets against the dark background. Then we have First Form Frieza. And if you think I'm doing these in a weird order, yep. Anyway, as you can see, this one is noticeably smaller than the other two, which makes sense as this is a weaker form of Frieza. And next up is Super Frieza, and this one looks really cool too. The ball itself isn't bigger than the average or anything, but the purple lightning effect looks really cool. I can't say I even noticed it in gameplay, but that's why we do this, to catch those details that you wouldn't see normally. And next up, we're gonna take a look at Kid Boo's Planet Burst. And this is how you do a key ball. This thing is unique looking, it's massive, especially compared to Boo himself. And then when it makes contact, just the absolute massive geyser of energy that's released. It's just peak. Let's take a look at another angle, and I'm just gonna shut up for this one. And then I wanted to look at Broly. Starting with Z Broly's ult, it's actually not that impressive. I think the camera is doing a lot in favor of this one. Although, a cool detail that I noticed here is the green around his face is just a green circle, but that green circle ends up becoming part of the blast as he charges it in his hand, which is just kinda neat. And then we're gonna look at Super Broly's big ball. And just like Kid Buu, this one is really well done. I love the way that this attack looks. And here's full power Super Saiyan's ult just as a little treat for you guys. And the final key ball that we are going to look at is Cell Max. Looking at this attack in normal gameplay, it looks incredible as is. The pacing, the design of the ball itself, it's great. But pulling the camera out makes it even better. This is the largest attack in Sparking Zero. From every angle, the attack just engulfs the stage, before returning to this condensed, throwable size. It just shows that this attack is so packed with energy. It's truly an incredible attack. I could watch this over and over and over again. Kid Buu and Cell Max also showcase that attacks in this game can be big and flashy, and they don't all have to look exactly the same and end exactly the same. And these handful of attacks are so special because we have so few of them in this game. Truthfully, there is just too many straight up fireballs. I would love if we get a sequel to get some more attention to detail on the individual key balls and make all of the ones that are unique to specific characters actually look like the ones from the anime. But I digress. And folks, that's going to be it for this edition of What is the Camera Hiding in Sparking Zero. If you want to see another one of these, let me know down in the comments below. They're a lot of fun to make. And be sure to drop what you want to see in the next one. And hey, if you have a friend that you think would like this video, consider sharing it with them. And again, consider liking and subscribing as it really helps me out a lot. I also live stream almost every weekday, so if you see that we're live sometime, come say hi. But with that, I have been Gunchpot, this has been a video, thank you everybody again so much for watching, and of course as always, goodbye forever.